Good morning everyone. I thought I would get up nice and early this morning and come and try and film the sunrise in Zurich. And my plan for today is, again, making the most of the GT3 that I've got all week because, well, I'm just absolutely loving this car. And after reading through all the comments on my last video, what I saw is we all really want a GT3 in our lives. So what I thought I'd do today is take the GT3 to Germany on the Autobahn, not necessarily to try and reach top speed, but just to be able to really push it to the max in each gear without having to worry about losing my license. Because when you hit that 9,000 RPM in the GT3, it just sounds absolutely incredible. It just sings. Today, keeping it fast, keeping it simple, and keeping it fun. Just like that, I'm in Deutschland now, just across the border. Gonna go straight onto the German Autobahn to do some 9,000 RPM gear changes. That is the plan. This car loves to be pushed. It more so loves to be pushed on a proper twisty road, but I thought it would still be fun going in a straight line, pushing it to the max in each gear, and yeah, just as usual, having fun. There's something so satisfying about pushing a Porsche, or especially a GT3, to the absolute max in the revs. It just feels and sounds absolutely spectacular. So literally coming over from Switzerland, you can cross the border straight onto the German Autobahn within like 3 minutes. So now it's actually de-restricted here, but I know that very soon after it goes back down to 120. I guess it would be rude, PDK Sport, not to give it a little bit of an acceleration now and get warmed up. That was already 200 in that tiny little space, and as you can see now, back down to 120 and or even 100 now. And now unfortunately there's about 5 minutes of restricted area before it opens up again. So while I'm just cruising along now before I get back in the de-restricted area, I thought I'd just talk about a few comments and questions that were asked over the last 24 hours with this car. And I know, like most of you know, I love the GT4, and driving this hasn't made me forget about the GT4. I would still be totally happy with the GT4. This is obviously, again, a next level, but the GT4 for me would really just make me, I think, just as happy as this does. After reading through all of the comments on yesterday's video, I'm definitely not the only one who fantasizes about owning a GT3. Actually didn't realize how much love for this car there is. Everybody is just absolutely loving it, and there's a good reason to it. It is absolutely incredible. So as I'm obviously driving the car more and more, I'm learning new things I love about it. And I always find it interesting when driving a supercar through the city, the reaction you get of people. For instance, when I drove the Aventador, it's lots of people staring at me and shaking their heads, looking very displeased with me. But driving this through the city, there was a lot of very pleased looking people, a lot of guys looking at me and just kind of going, it's like a sign of respect almost. But so far I've just had incredible reactions from this car, and again, I just didn't realize how many people really like this car. You also then enter a kind of Porsche community, and even over the last few days I've talked to so many other guys that own Porsches just on the side of the street, in parking areas. They've come up to me, just been talking that they've had a Porsche too, and yeah, it's just been really interesting and just loving every day with this car at the moment. Anyway, I'm now in a de-restricted part of the motorway, so I'm going to stop talking for a second and just drive. Going to drop it down a few gears, get those revs up, and let that massive rear wing do its job. 9,000 RPM gear change. Oh, yes. That is a gear change. I'm not sure if you can see the speedo, sometimes you think you're going fast and there'll be a German guy right behind you who wants to go even faster. So what I've actually done now is come off the Autobahn really quickly through the petrol station back on, so you can start down from a low rev range and really push it up through the gears, which should be very satisfying in this. Yeah, it's satisfying. Yeah, I just had to concentrate then for a second. This picks up speed very quickly. Third gear. Screaming! Ah. How good does that sound? Cruising at 200 now. Well, back to roadworks. There's a lot of temporary speed limits today, which is rather annoying. The only thing I don't particularly like about coming to the German Autobahn is the fuel consumption. You just burn through fuel so fast, and that is not good for me at the moment, as I'm already struggling to pay for these videos coming to the German Autobahn. There's not really hope there. So I am officially lost. I took an exit coming off the Autobahn to turn back round to do it again going back to Switzerland, and I ended up on a back road now for the last half an hour. However, there is a really cool twisty road here. Not super twisty, but probably the most twisty I've seen since driving this car. So I'm just gonna go back up it again, because although it was fun putting my foot down on the Autobahn, where this car really makes me smile is when you go around corners. When you hold this on a corner or throw it into a corner, it's like nothing I've ever felt before, and that's where it really just makes you feel incredible. Look at these corners, just cruising around them. Oh, big trucks, no problem. This, you always perfectly in your lane, and they're stuck behind another big truck. Just absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. I'm doing a steady speed of something, and it is just absolutely no problem. It's just the way it feels. Corners all day long in this, really, all day long. I want a road with endless corners and a GT3. Burning through fuel a little bit too fast for my wallet. What a noise in here. Petrol lights come on. That's not what you see, what you want to see at 270. I'll leave it at that for today, and I'm